Welcome to the YouTube channel, The Right Place, where small spaces turn into breathtaking sanctuaries filled with timeless charm and creativity. Today we are exploring beautiful vintage rustic gardens for tiny spaces with easy DIY outdoor decor ideas, designed especially for those who believe that even the smallest patio, balcony, or backyard corner can become a dreamy escape. If you love weathered wood, antique accents, climbing roses, and soft romantic textures, you are in the perfect place to get inspired and start transforming your own outdoor retreat. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community for more inspiring outdoor transformations. Let's get started. One, embracing the vintage rustic garden style. Understanding the core aesthetic. Vintage rustic gardens are all about character, history, and natural beauty blended into one harmonious setting. This style combines aged materials, soft color palettes, distressed finishes, and abundant greenery to create an atmosphere that feels both nostalgic and welcoming. In tiny spaces, the key is focusing on meaningful details rather than quantity, allowing each element to stand out while still contributing to a cohesive and layered look. When designing a small rustic garden, think of it as telling a story through textures and carefully chosen decor pieces. Weathered metal lanterns, reclaimed wooden crates, and antique-inspired planters can instantly evoke a timeless feel. By mixing natural elements like stone, clay, and wood with soft flowering plants, you create depth and warmth that make even the smallest corner feel rich, inviting, and beautifully curated. 2. Choosing the perfect plants for tiny rustic gardens. Soft, romantic, and layered greenery. Selecting the right plants is essential when working with limited space, especially in a vintage rustic setting. Opt for compact flowering plants such as lavender, miniature roses, geraniums, and trailing ivy to achieve that soft, cottage-inspired look. These plants not only provide beautiful colors and textures, but also help create a layered effect that makes your tiny garden feel fuller and more dynamic. Combining upright plants with cascading varieties adds visual movement without overwhelming your space. Place taller plants toward the back or against walls, and allow trailing greenery to spill gently over containers or shelves. This thoughtful arrangement creates the illusion of depth, giving your small outdoor area a lush, established appearance that feels both romantic and effortlessly rustic. 3. Using reclaimed wood for rustic charm. Sustainable and stylish foundations. Reclaimed wood is one of the most powerful materials in a vintage rustic garden design. Old pallets, salvaged boards, and weathered fence panels can be repurposed into planter boxes, vertical gardens, or decorative backdrops. The natural imperfections, knots, and faded finishes add authenticity and warmth that new materials simply cannot replicate. 'In tiny spaces, vertical reclaimed wood structures are especially useful because they maximize height rather than floor area. You can create a narrow wooden ladder shelf for potted plants or mount small wooden boxes directly onto a wall. These simple DIY projects bring texture and character while keeping your garden functional and uncluttered. 4. Creating cozy seating areas, comfort in compact corners. Even the smallest garden can include a cozy seating area with the right planning and proportions. A compact bistro set with a distressed finish or a small wooden bench layered with soft neutral cushions can instantly turn your outdoor corner into a relaxing retreat. The key is choosing pieces that fit comfortably without restricting movement. Add warmth by incorporating textured throws, vintage-inspired pillows, and perhaps a small outdoor rug in muted, earthy tones. These soft elements contrast beautifully with rustic materials and greenery, making your space feel inviting and intimate. A thoughtfully styled seating nook encourages you to slow down, unwind, and fully enjoy your charming vintage garden escape. 5. Decorating with antique and thrifted finds, character through unique pieces. Antique and thrifted decor pieces bring personality and authenticity to tiny rustic gardens. Look for old watering cans, metal buckets, ceramic pots, and wrought iron accents that show gentle signs of age. These items can be repurposed as planters or simply displayed as decorative focal points that tell a story. Mixing different eras and textures adds depth and visual interest without needing excessive decor. One statement vintage piece can transform a simple corner into a captivating vignette. The charm lies in imperfection, so embrace chipped paint, patina, and faded finishes as part of your garden's unique character. 6. Vertical gardening for small spaces, maximizing every inch. Vertical gardening is a smart solution for tiny outdoor areas where floor space is limited. Installing wall-mounted planters, hanging baskets, or narrow shelving units allows you to grow more greenery without crowding the ground. This approach also draws the eye upward, making the space appear larger and more layered. 'Climbing plants like ivy or small flowering vines can be trained along trellises or rustic wire frames to create a soft green backdrop. Vertical elements not only enhance functionality, but also add dimension and architectural interest, reinforcing the charming, cottage-inspired aesthetic of your vintage garden. 7. Incorporating rustic lighting. Soft glow for evening ambience. Lighting plays a crucial role in transforming your tiny rustic garden into a magical nighttime retreat. String lights with warm tones, vintage lanterns, and solar-powered mason jar lights can create a soft and inviting glow. Proper lighting highlights textures and plants while enhancing the cozy atmosphere. 'Focus on layering different light sources rather than relying on one bright fixture. Subtle lighting tucked among plants or placed on tables adds depth and warmth. The result is an intimate evening setting that feels peaceful, romantic, and perfectly suited to a vintage-inspired outdoor space. 8. Adding stone and natural elements, grounding the design. Natural materials like stone and terracotta help ground your rustic garden design. Small stone pathways, pebble accents, or clay pots bring earthy textures that complement aged wood and metal. These elements add structure and contrast while maintaining a harmonious connection with nature. 'Even in a tiny space, a few carefully placed stones or a miniature gravel corner can create definition and visual balance. Natural elements enhance the authenticity of the vintage aesthetic and provide subtle texture that elevates the entire outdoor composition. 9. DIY Rustic Planter Ideas, creative and budget-friendly projects. Creating your own rustic planters is a rewarding way to personalize your tiny garden. Repurpose old crates, tin cans, wooden boxes, or woven baskets into charming containers. A simple coat of distressed paint or light sanding can enhance their vintage appeal. 'DIY projects not only save money, but also allow you to customize sizes and styles to fit your exact space. By crafting planters that suit your layout, you ensure functionality while reinforcing the cohesive rustic theme throughout your garden. 10. Soft color palettes for vintage appeal, muted and harmonious tones. Choosing a soft, muted color palette helps create a calm and timeless atmosphere in small rustic gardens. Shades like dusty rose, sage green, cream, and soft gray blend beautifully with natural materials and flowering plants. These tones prevent the space from feeling overwhelming. Consistency in color selection ties together furniture, decor, and plants into one harmonious composition. By limiting bold contrasts and focusing on gentle hues, you achieve a cohesive and elegant garden design that feels peaceful and intentionally curated. 11. Creating mini garden zones, defining purpose in small areas. Dividing your tiny outdoor space into mini zones can make it feel larger and more organized. Designate areas for seating, planting, or decorative displays, even if they are only a few feet apart. This subtle separation adds structure and functionality. Use rugs, planters, or small dividers to visually distinguish each zone without building solid barriers. The result is a thoughtfully arranged garden that feels intentional and balanced rather than cramped or cluttered. 12. Incorporating water features, gentle sounds, and movement. Even a small tabletop fountain can dramatically enhance a vintage rustic garden. The gentle sound of flowing water creates a peaceful ambience and masks background noise, making your tiny space feel like a secluded retreat. 'Choose compact designs with aged finishes or stone textures to complement your rustic theme. A small water feature becomes a focal point that adds sensory depth and tranquility without overwhelming your limited space. 13. Seasonal rustic touches, refreshing your garden year-round. Updating your garden decor with subtle seasonal accents keeps your space feeling fresh and dynamic. Add pumpkins and warm textiles in autumn, or soft florals and pastel touches in spring. Seasonal updates maintain interest while preserving your vintage foundation. 'Rotating small decorative pieces allows you to experiment creatively without major changes. This flexibility ensures your tiny rustic garden remains inspiring and adaptable throughout the year. 14. Keeping the space clutter-free. Simplicity with character. In small gardens, less is often more, especially when embracing a detailed rustic style. Carefully edit your decor and prioritize pieces that serve both aesthetic and functional purposes. Too many items can overwhelm the charm you are trying to create. 'Maintaining open pathways and balanced spacing allows each element to shine. By combining simplicity with meaningful vintage accents, your tiny outdoor space will feel airy, cozy, and beautifully composed. 15. Personalizing your vintage garden, making it truly yours. Personal touches are what truly transform a rustic garden into your own sanctuary. Display handmade decor, cherished heirlooms, or DIY creations that reflect your personality and story. These details create emotional warmth and authenticity. When your tiny garden reflects who you are, it becomes more than just an outdoor space. It becomes a retreat filled with comfort and inspiration. Thoughtful personalization ensures your vintage rustic design feels genuine, welcoming, and uniquely yours. Conclusion: transforming small spaces into timeless retreats. Beautiful vintage rustic gardens for tiny spaces prove that size is never a limitation when creativity leads the way. By combining reclaimed materials, soft color palettes, vertical gardening, cozy seating, and meaningful decor, you can transform even the smallest outdoor corner into a charming retreat filled with warmth and character. Start small, experiment confidently, and let your imagination guide you as you design a timeless space that feels both peaceful and inspiring.